Welcome back guys to the Kitemana channel. Today's video is very special because we have Gijs with me and we're gonna test the F1 Trigger. So this is the first F1 Brainchild kite.
So we got an 8 and a 9. Lucas is 60 kilos, so he's obviously going on the 9. And I'm 100 kilos, so I'm going on the 8. Oh no, otherwise it's 35 to 40 knots, hopefully. A little bit offshore, but it should be turning around, so we're gonna send it. Woo!
Sous-titres français dans cette vidéo.
So on the new bar from F1 we have the SK99 lines. For this bar it has multiple settings for the V-splitter which is used on different kites. So for example on the F1 Addict now we use the low V, so you don't need to put the line through the split at all. On the Bandit it's always been somewhere in the middle, but on this new Trigger Brainchild kite we're using a higher V. So it's pretty easy, you just need your FCS fin key to adjust this splitter, and I'm going to show you in a bit how we're going to do it. So while Gijs is doing his warm-up, we were adjusting this bar frame, and as you can see it's very easy. You just slide it up to the next point and there's a nice mark where you should tighten it up again.
So, what a wind! Yesterday we scored a very good session with around 40 knots, but it turned out to be a little bit too much for me on the 8 meter. So I had to wait for the wind to settle down a bit. So Gijs and Thorsten already went out and pulled some impressive loops and also some impressive big jumps. The wind beforehand was a little bit offshore, and when it turned onshore the wind settled down a bit and it was a little bit less gusty. So I could also give the 8 meter a spin. Before we dive into the review and sharing our thoughts about this trigger, we will highlight some features of this new Trigger V2 by Brainchild. To start, a lot of people assume that all the kites from the Brainchild factory all look and feel the same, but that's definitely not the case. So this kite is fully designed by Ralf Grosel and also tested and approved by the F1 team. You may have seen this kite already on the recent King of the Air, ridden by Jamie Overbeek and Josh Gillett. The canopy on the Trigger is made from Brainchild's recycled and lightweight canopy. This canopy is 48% recycled and is also eco-friendly. Another unique Brainchild innovation is the ability to print colors directly onto the kite, as well as on the struts and the leading edge. So you can get every color on there and even have a fade from the leading edge onto the canopy. Another feature of the Trigger is the Pro Weld technology, which is only seen on the Brainchild factory. Instead of stitching the panels together, they are welded together, which makes the kite lighter because they don't have to stitch the panels individually, which also makes the kite flexible in a certain way, which makes the kite quicker and also stiffer in a certain way to enhance performance. So the Trigger features a pulley-less bridle, also known as a fixed bridle. The bridle has 6 attachment points onto the leading edge and helps the kite to maintain its shape while riding in different conditions, strong as well as light wind. So the Trigger also uses a separate inflate and deflate valve, which is only seen on the Brainchild kites. So besides that, the Trigger also barely has any reinforcements on the trailing edge. That's why they use 6 battens for extra support against fluttering, etc. Trigger has a very minimalistic design, which presumably makes it one of the lightest 5-strut kites on the market. And we're gonna find out how light the kite actually is on this scale. So Brainchild designs their kites to turn faster by making the whole airframe a little bit more flexible. This might feel a little bit strange at the first time, which I experienced myself as well, because the tips tend to flex a little bit more, like a jellyfish reaction. But I feel also that when you loop the kite accelerates because of the flex in the tips, which is certainly not a bad thing, of course. This kind of jellyfish reaction in gusts actually helps you with absorbing the gusts. So this feeling, you need to get used at it for the first time, but it definitely gives you a nice and controllable feeling while riding it. So I was really powered on the 8 meter, which was actually perfect for this kite because it's meant for high boosting, strong winds, big mega loops. Yeah, I was very keen to find out how this kite was feeling. Also, first thing I noticed was the upwind capabilities of this kite. Because it's a high aspect kite, you could like easily go upwind. So the current was also in the same direction as the wind, and I didn't even have trouble with going upwind, which is also a very good and fun aspect of the kite as well. So you don't have to ride upwind for 5 or 10 minutes after each jump, especially with this kite, because you go pretty high, so you can jump again and again. So when I first jumped, the kite immediately shoots me up vertically into the sky, which is thanks to the kite sitting on the edge of the wind window. So I can only achieve jumps like this in these conditions with a trigger or, for example, another kite in this segment. I could probably not hold my edge that long to go such high and vertically up into the sky, and also with such an amount of hang time, which actually really impressed me. Even though my takeoffs weren't perfect all the time, the kite corrected me and took me off to vertical heights and also stayed there for a good amount of time. After the vertical takeoff, this kite continues to deliver vertical power, which is excellent for a good and long hang time. During down loops, I felt connected with this kite and I knew what the kite was going to do, also in the gusty conditions, which gave me a lot of confidence to go even higher the jump after. Overall, the trigger gave me a very good feeling and confident feeling, even in these challenging conditions.
Hey guys, these are my findings about the F1 Trigger V2 Brainchild. Yesterday we kited in about 40 knots, a little bit offshore, quite gusty conditions, challenging but pretty good. First I thought the kite was really punchy and was pulling you all over the place. Further into the session, it really rides upwind very well. Handles smooth, has a nice little flutter on the trailing edge, which makes you feel like you're in a race car. But especially in jumps and loops, it pulls really nicely. So it's super smooth, goes fast through the window, so you can steer it a bit to put it a little bit lower or higher. Catches really nice, doesn't fly that much over your head on the backside, which I like because it's easier to land. I wasn't going as high as I would have expected with the wind while I was riding, but afterwards I was riding my own kite and it was also the wind, which was super gusty and punchy. So the kite was pulling a bit. So it was going a little bit more front, then it was flying up. Your jump wasn't super smooth as you would expect, but that was mainly the wind because I had the same with my own kite. Well, I normally don't have that. General, like for the conditions, it was a really nice kite because it was, I think, between 30 and 45, 46. Gusting and also shifty a bit because it was slightly offshore. But even in those conditions, it was very good, manageable, felt smooth on the bar. Power to depower was good. Like the tension when you steer it, when you're in a loop, you have control, you feel where the kite is going. So I always like that. Because of the gust, I think the kite was flexing a bit. So it went in the window a little bit and then pushed out a bit again. It is a combination of the gust with the kite, but that was something challenging. So you have to be tense, you have to ride it quite aggressively because otherwise you're getting blown away with the kite. And I think the 8 would have been better for me while I was riding a 9. Overall impression, good kite, very smooth in riding upwind. The acceleration through a loop was really nice, felt really controlled. So you can steer it a little bit lower, good for progressing with your tricks when it isn't that punchy, to learn new tricks and do some fun shit with it. So it was a fun session, boys. Ready for more.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below what you think about this new F1 Trigger. If you have questions about this kite, don't hesitate to contact us and we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.